Exactly 3 p.m. in Cairo, ladies and gentlemen. Time to look up at the news bulletin. I'm Hanan El-Khouli, and allow me first to welcome my dear colleague Mahisti.
Thank you so much, Hanan. It's my pleasure. Our dear viewers, we'll start our news bulletin with a look at the headlines. President Sisi receives Jordan's king and Qatari Prime Minister on bilateral ties and regional developments. Egypt welcomes ceasefire in Israeli war in Lebanon as tense calm begins. And 15 people killed in fresh Israeli attacks in Gaza.
Welcome back. The news in full. President Abdel Sisi on Wednesday received Jordanian's King Abdullah II, who began a state visit to Egypt this morning. The presidential spokesman said that the two leaders welcomed the ceasefire agreement in Lebanon and stressed the imperative necessity of a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. President El-Sisi and Jordan's king confirmed their an outright rejection of any attempts to liquidate the Palestinian cause or to force Palestinians out of their lands.
Also Wednesday, President Abdel Sisi met with visiting Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al-Thani. On that case, Egypt confirmed anew the importance of respecting Lebanon's sovereignty and the non-interference in its internal affairs, in addition to empowering the country's institutions and holding the presidential elections to preserve the Lebanese national unity and internal coherence. Cairo stressed that such ceasefire decision should be prelude to an end to the Israeli aggression in the Gaza Strip, now in its second year, as well as to an immediate ceasefire and the flow in of humanitarian aid into the besieged strip without obstacles amid catastrophic circumstances in Gaza, as well as unjustified Israeli breaches and violations in the West Bank. Egypt further called on de-escalating violence and restoring to diplomatic channels, dialogue and negotiation, besides returning back rights to the Palestinians and abiding by the international law's principles and the international humanitarian law and legitimacy. Also, Egypt called on applying UN Charter's resolutions through a serious political process and within the framework of set timetable that leads to holding a Palestinian state on the Palestinian land and ending the Israeli invasion.
And moving on to the responses after the ceasefire in Lebanon, as the Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati said that the ceasefire deal that ends the Israeli war in Lebanon was a fundamental step towards restoring stability in the region. Several world leaders welcomed the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah after both sides accepted an agreement brokered by the U.S. and France.
A ceasefire agreement in Lebanon came into effect on Wednesday and ends intensive Israeli air bombardment and a ground offensive in Lebanon. Thanking France and the U.S. for their involvement, Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati reiterated his government's commitment to strengthen the army's presence in the south. UN Special Coordinator for Lebanon, however, warned that considerable work lies ahead to implement the deal. China said it supports all efforts conducive to easing tensions and achieving bring peace in the Middle East and insisted that the failure to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza was the root cause of the current round of turmoil in the Middle East. Both U.S. President Joe Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron said in a joint statement the ceasefire would cease the fighting in Lebanon and secure Israel from the threat of Hezbollah and other organizations operating from Lebanon. Biden also said the U.S. would lead a fresh effort to secure a truce in the Israeli war in the Palestinian Gaza enclave, while Macron said the Lebanese ceasefire should open the path for an end of the war in Gaza. Meanwhile, EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen hailed the news of the ceasefire, saying it would increase Lebanon's internal security and stability. And German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock welcomed the deal, saying people on both sides of the border want to live in genuine and lasting security. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer praised the long overdue ceasefire and vowed to be at the forefront of efforts to break the ongoing cycle of violence in pursuit of a long-term sustainable peace in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Iraq welcomed the ceasefire deal and called on the international community to act urgently to end Israel's war in Gaza and avoid any new escalation along the Israeli-Lebanese border, while also urging serious urgent steps to stop the continued massacres and violations against the Palestinian people on the Gaza Strip. Jordan said a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hezbollah should prompt greater international efforts to bring an end to the war in Gaza. In an official statement, the kingdom said the move was also a first step towards reversing a dangerous escalation of tensions across the region that have threatened peace and security. Iran welcomed the end of Israel's aggression in Lebanon and stressed its firm support for the Lebanese government, nation, and resistance. For its part, Turkey expressed its readiness to give Lebanon the necessary support for the establishment of internal peace.
Long-displaced residents of South Lebanon started returning to their homes amid celebrations hours after a ceasefire that halted the Israeli war took effect early Wednesday morning. Hundreds of cars made their way into southern Lebanon, defying a warning from the Israeli military to stay away from the previously evacuated areas. Traffic was congested as thousands flocked to the Hezbollah bastion, a densely packed residential area that had largely been emptied out as Israel launched near-daily strikes in recent weeks. Israel has said it will attack if Hezbollah breaks the ceasefire agreement, which was announced on Tuesday. The ceasefire has brought relief across the country, coming after 2 months of most intense Israeli airstrikes and ground offensive that began against the background of the Israeli war of aggression in the Gaza Strip.
Well, moving on to Syria. Syria said 6 people are being killed and 12 others injured in Israeli strikes on border crossings with Lebanon just after midnight on Wednesday. The Syrian Foreign Ministry said in a statement Israel had launched an air aggression from the direction of Lebanese territory, targeting border crossings between Syria and Lebanon. The ministry added that among fatalities were 2 soldiers, while the rest were civilians, adding that the injured included children, women, and Syrian Arab-Red Crescent workers.
The Israeli occupation army continued their attacks across the Gaza Strip, killing 15 people on Wednesday. Medics in Gaza said 8 Palestinians were killed and dozens others injured in an Israeli strike that hit a school which was sheltering displaced families in Gaza City. The medics added that the fatalities included 2 sons of former Hamas spokesman Fawzi Barhoum in the Shijaiya suburb of Gaza City. Another attack war in Gaza has left 44,282 people dead and displaced nearly all of the enclave's population more than once.
Hamas official Sami Abu Zohri said on Wednesday that the group appreciates Lebanon's right to reach an agreement that protects its people, adding that it hopes for a deal to end the war in Gaza. He said that the group hopes that this agreement will pave the way to reaching an agreement that ends the war of genocide against Palestinian people in Gaza. Later on Wednesday, the group said in a statement it was open to offers to secure a deal in Gaza. He added, or the group added, that an agreement must end the war and pull Israeli forces out of Gaza, return displaced Gazans to their homes, and achieve a hostage for prisoners swap deal. Without a similar deal in Gaza, many residents said that they felt abandoned. Month of attempts to negotiate a ceasefire have yielded some progress, and negotiations are now on hold, with mediators Qatar saying that it has told the two warring parties it would suspend its efforts until the sides are prepared to make concessions.
Back home, General Commander of the Armed Forces Defense Minister General Abdelmajid Saqr on Wednesday inspected Armed Forces units and personnel who will be participating at an African Union mission. General Saqr listened to a detailed explanation of the preparatory procedures taken by the forces ahead of their dispatch. The explanation included the technical aspects of the preparation that include training on the use of latest weapons, equipment, and advanced technological means.
I'm moving to Ukraine, as Ukraine officials said in Kiev. They said on Wednesday a Russian drone attack wounded 3 people after falling debris from a destroyed drone damaged a non-residential building in the city. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry said it was had taken control of the settlement of Nova Ilinka, close to the embattled Donetsk region town of Kharkov in eastern Ukraine. The TASS state news agency said that they cited the ministry as saying that Ukrainian forces had attacked the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant with drones and artillery.
Protesters who marched on Pakistan's capital to demand the release of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan were cleared from the city centre on Wednesday after a sweeping security crackdown. The Interior Minister said in a statement that they had repulsed the protesters. Khan had been jailed since August of the year 2023, sidelined by dozens of legal cases he claims were confessed to his preventing of his comeback.
And now starting the economy news, as Egypt's Boursa was mixed at the start of today's dealings amid local and Arab investors' purchases against foreign investors' sell-offs. The market capital of listed companies so far lost £3 trillion, crossing £2.2 trillion. The benchmark index, EGX 30, fell 0.3% above the 30,190-point mark. The equal-weighted indexes EGX 70 and EGX 100 rose to 0.6% and 0.4% respectively.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli received today visiting Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani. Upon his arrival at the Cairo International Airport, the two prime ministers will be holding expanded talks at the new administrative capital with the attendance of ministers from both sides on a number of files of mutual concern.
Minister of Agriculture Ala Farouk today asserted Egypt's readiness to support the Islamic Organization for Food Security until achieving its objectives and to contribute to offering the expertise needed to build the capabilities of its members. The minister made these remarks as he met the organization's General Director, Berk Orain, on the sidelines of his participation in the World's Food Summit in Abu Dhabi. The United Arab Emirates and the Egyptian minister reviewed Egypt's efforts for achieving food security amid the current global challenges which influenced supply chains across the globe. He pointed out that Egypt achieved self-sufficiency from strategic crops and is exporting some 400 commodities in surplus to more than 160 markets worldwide.
To our sports news, Al-Ahli started their CAF Champions League group stage campaign with a 4-2 home win over Ivorian side Stade Abidjan in the first round Group C fixture. The Egyptian football giants dominated the first half, racing to 3-1 lead with Mahmoud Kahraba netting twice and Mahmoud Afsha adding the winner. Title holders Al-Ahli are placing Group C along with South Africa's Orlando Pirates, Côte d'Ivoire, Stade d'Abidjan, and Algeria Shabab Belouizdad, and they currently top the group on 3 points. Defending champion Al-Ahli hope this season to become the first club to win the Champions League 3 consecutive times, having achieved back-to-back titles on 4 occasions.
And from Ahli moving to Liverpool, as Liverpool manager Aaron Slot said, speculations over Mohamed Salah's future at Anfield is fueling the Egyptians' fine form ahead of a special week for the Reds. Liverpool are in first place in the Champions League ahead of the visit of holders Real Madrid today and sit 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League. A fifth victory in 5 matches would edge Liverpool closer to securing direct entry to the Champions League last 16 via a top 8 finish. But they have to overturn a horrible recent record against the Spanish giants, who are unbeaten in the last 8 meetings between the clubs, including 2 Champions League finals in 2018 and 2022.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of our news bulletin. You were in the company of myself, Maisi Rabia, and I had all the pleasure to be working with my dear colleague, Hanan Khoury. Thank you so much, Hanan.
Thank you so much, Mahi, and many thanks for watching, dear viewers. Goodbye.